In my room tour video from a few weeks back, I introduced all of you to the insane obsession that I had with Nintendo Switch accessories. So this is the very first Nintendo Switch that I've had since February 2018. You can see all the wear and tear on this console. It was my very first one. I have 3 Switch 1s actually. This is the original one from 2017. I also have a Switch Lite and a Switch OLED, and both of those I have a ton of accessories for as well. And ever since I made that kind of passing remark, I wanted to detail all of the accessories that I built up over the years, because yes, it is a laughable amount of them just for one silly console. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm just gonna get started with all of the controllers that I have for the Nintendo Switch 1. I'm gonna flip the camera around so you all can get a better look at this. But here is the Nintendo Switch 1, and obviously we got the 2 Joy-Cons here. These 2 are my very first Joy-Cons, and they are practically unusable now at this state, because even when I was still actively playing this console, they started to get that dreaded Joy-Con drift. Yes, I've been bit by the Joy-Con drift bug, so I just put these back on purely for aesthetics, because I still get a lot of nostalgia from this classic blue and red look. And the Nintendo Switch 2 is like all black. It's kind of a gothic console, kind of an emo console. It's all black. There's barely any colors on that one. So I just do kind of miss like the charming, colorful Nintendo-ish looks from the Switch 1. So these are the original Joy-Cons, and I actually didn't use these for most of the period where I used the Nintendo Switch 1. And I forgot to mention this, but my blue Joy-Con right here, this is the left Joy-Con, is really banged up. You can see it's kind of torn, the plastic was torn off. And there's a couple of cases that are responsible for this travesty that I'm going to show in a little bit. And like I said, the blue and red look wasn't the one that I was using back in the day for most of the time, because a few months after I got my original Switch, I got the pink and green Joy-Cons that were released. I think they were based off Splatoon 2 colors. They were pink and they were green, but I don't have those anymore, because old me, for some reason, I was just obsessed with selling all of my games and my controllers back, because I didn't have any other way to make money. So I sold those back, but those were my primary Joy-Cons from 2018. They were the pink and the green ones. I don't have those anymore. But I did get a couple of Joy-Cons later in the Switch 1's life. For some reason, I got just one bright gray Joy-Con. I think this was on sale at GameStop, so that's why I got it. I got it brand new in the box, because I remember it was actually kind of rare to see single Joy-Cons being sold at a retailer. I've seen Joy-Con 2s separately for sale like at Walmart, but back in the Switch 1 days, it was just like really uncommon to see a single Joy-Con for sale. You can usually only get them online. So I don't know why I went with gray, because I think it was as it was at a GameStop that didn't really get too much stock in, so there was no colored one, so this was my only option. But I did get another third-party Joy-Con that has a very unique function to it. And it does have a little thumbstick on here, so that's not what the thumbstick looks like. But this is a D-pad Joy-Con from Hori, and it adds a D-pad to the Joy-Con controller, because the Joy-Cons have these split buttons so you can do multiplayer. But the interesting kind of caveat with this is that it always has to be connected to the Switch to work with this, because it doesn't have a battery inside of it, so it can't be wireless. And it was also $25, so they kind of had to make a lot of cuts to justify that price. But the sticks feel the same, just the buttons up here do feel kind of clicky and cheaper. So see if you can hear that. So the shoulder buttons feel cheap. The thumbstick feels exactly like a Joy-Con thumbstick, so they did get that right. The D-pad feels nice, of course, but it's just in that weird placement, because if you're playing your Switch 1, you kind of have to reach down here to play it, and it's kind of awkward, and you can get cramped after a while. So yeah, since this is a Switch 1 thing and it has to attach to the rails, this will not work with the Switch 2, and I'm not even sure if these things are being made anymore, since the Switch 1 has a Switch 2 now, so there's no real need to keep this in production. But yeah, D-pad Joy-Con, really cool accessory. I just didn't use it all that much, because I actually, to be honest with all of you, I didn't really play handheld mode all that much. And while we're on the topic of Joy-Cons, let's talk about a few of the Joy-Con grips that I've accumulated over the years. And boy, there's a lot of them. So the first one already has an accessory on it, but this is the official Nintendo Joy-Con grip. And we have a silicone case thingy on it, but inside of this is the original Joy-Con grip that I got with my console that I just showed you, all the way back from 2018. And I forgot who made this silicone. I think it might have been Powerade. But the reason I keep buying silicone stuff like this is because my hands get really sweaty when I play my video games. So it just like kind of gives you like a nice grip, and it helps with the sweat to keep my grip through all that. So that is one of the main reasons why I had this accessory back in the day. And it was the main Joy-Con grip that I used because of the silicone. and the texture does actually mean a lot to me. So let's go ahead and slide these Joy-Cons in here. See how it feels in the good old 2025. Yeah, this is a very nostalgic feeling to me. I remember playing Mario Tennis Aces when that came out in June 2018. I remember playing it with this grip, and it just brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. But just a really memorable combo here. Still feels really good to this day. I think this might actually feel better than the Joy-Con 2 grip, honestly, because like I said in the other room tour, it has kind of a sharp edge on it, and this one just feels really nice to hold in the hand. It's too bad these Joy-Cons don't work, but yeah, here's the Joy-Con grip with the silicone on it. And I think this might have been the second ever Nintendo Switch accessory that I got after buying my console, and this one is by PowerA, and it is a Joy-Con Comfort Grip. This one is just like one of those ones that's just really good to have on you, just laying around if you ever wanted to use it. It feels really nice in the hand. It was very cheap to buy. I think I've still seen these at Walmart in 2025 actually, even after the Switch 2 came out. I don't think they make the patterns anymore though, so you're just gonna have to get like a regular black one if you want a PowerA Comfort Grip for your Switch 1, for whatever reason, if you still want that this year. But yeah, this one feels really good in the hand. It has a nice curve, kind of like a trigger feeling in the back. It does have the rubber on it, which is great for somebody like me who sweats when you play your games. Just a really nice feeling one. It feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap, even though it's cheap to buy. The only cheap feeling part of here is the plastic. Let me see if you can see right there. The plastic feeling is incredibly cheap, and it also works incredibly cheap as well, because you don't even need to actuate the buttons here to be able to pull it out of the grip. And like if you jiggle it hard enough, it can slide out of the Joy-Cons here. Like you can hear the wiggling, and even if I just push on it just a tiny bit of force, it falls out like that. But that's the only real issue with this. The PowerA Joy-Con grip feels really nice in the hand, really cheap to buy, very affordable, looks nice with the Super Mario Odyssey design, and you can still get it to this day if you are in dire need of a Joy-Con 1 grip. Okay, so the previous two grips that I showed you were just for comfort and aesthetics. This one actually provides an essential function for the Joy-Cons. And this, I think, was made by PDP, and it is a Joy-Con charging grip. You can see the three little dots down here. This actually has a little docking station that you plug into the official Nintendo Switch dock, and it would charge your Joy-Cons, which was great for somebody like me who had like 4 Joy-Cons back in the day, because I had the pink and green ones and these ones, so I did have an extra pair that I needed to charge. And this one is by far the best feeling in terms of ergonomics. It feels great. It also provides a little extra bumpers here at the top, which is nice. They feel good, satisfying to press. And you just release it like so. See how that works right there? Feels really nice. So the only problem that I have with this is the plastic in the back. You can see that this is a really shiny plastic. It does have a little bit of a texture on it, but that doesn't really solve my issue. And is that hard plastic like this makes it so it's really uncomfortable to play for me once my hand starts sweating, because it gets really slimy for plastic like this. And I didn't really use it that much because of that, because that's how much it bothers me. Like I have OCD, so I need to have a dry controller, and this one would always get slimy after a while once I would get sweaty with it. So I only used it to charge the Joy-Cons. You can see right here, still provides that essential function really well. Also looks nice just to have on your desk. It feels great for a short period of time once my hands start feeling sweaty, but other than that, it is a very good accessory to have on hand. This one is really unnecessary, but it's one that I've grown to love over the years. And this is just a cheap Amazon Basics. It is the basic generic Amazon brand, and it is a single Joy-Con grip. And you would get this if you play multiplayer with your friends or family and only have Joy-Cons to use and don't want to have your hands cramped up with the original Joy-Cons by itself. And it does provide some triggers here, so this feels awesome. Like, actually, I know it's cheap, but it has like this nice rubbery material. And back in 2018, 2019, this was actually my favorite way to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because that was one of my favorite games to play back then with my family. And I would always remember using this one with the single Joy-Con. And I did use this Joy-Con because I found the thumbstick in the center to be more comfortable for some reason. But this was my favorite way to play Mario Kart for the longest time, because I didn't really have any Pro controllers back then. And it got the job done. It felt really good. And it still feels good in 2025. Brings back a lot of those memories of game nights with this thing. So I always appreciate these, what they did for me, all the memories that they brought me. And I still have all 4 of them because I think they come in packs of 2. I got one originally, then I bought another one because I liked them so much, and I had 4 pairs of Joy-Cons, or 4 Joy-Cons in general, not 4 pairs. That would have been like, what, 16 Joy-Cons. I had 4 Joy-Cons, so I wanted one for each of these. And they get the job done, they feel really nice, and they were very inexpensive to buy. So this is the last Joy-Con related thing that I have to show off to all of you. And it's not really a Joy-Con technically, but it like replaces the Joy-Cons. These are the Hori Split Pad Pros. And this is probably the accessory that I've used the most over the years because I got my Switch OLED for Christmas 2022. And I bought these split pads for Christmas 2022, and I used them for years, all the way up until the Switch 2 came out in June 2025. So I was using these all the way up until this year. That is how much I love them. Like you can see right here, just it gives you like a pro controller feeling in handheld mode, because even though I said earlier I didn't use handheld mode all that much, I did use it when I'm like in the car traveling or at another person's house or whatever. So these are a lifesaver to me. Bigger buttons, bigger thumbsticks. We have the D-pad right here, the bigger shoulder buttons. And these retail for $50, so this is a premium product, and it does feel premium, and it does give you also the bumpers in the back, just like the official Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller if you use those, and it also has turbo function if you need a reason to use those. So there's that. It's just a much better feeling Joy-Con. This feels like an adult Joy-Con is essentially what I'm saying, because the Joy-Con's so puny and small. And even though they're like $80, they still feel kind of cheap. This was a lifesaver to me. This made me want to play in portable mode with how comfortable it was, because for the longest time I wanted like the Satisfy grip. I never got the Satisfy grip for the Switch 1 for some reason. I just ordered one for the Switch 2. It's not here yet, but when it does come, I want to make a review for it. So this was like the perfect replacement for a grip like that, because it just gives you... The only caveat is that I needed to get like this giant ass case to carry it in. They kind of look kind of suspicious, like something you would put a gun in. The case that I have for it, which I'll show in a little bit when I talk about cases. But yeah, Split Pad Pros. If you still primarily play on Switch 1 or the Switch OLED, I cannot recommend these enough. They will make your handheld experience 100 times better. Okay, as I was looking through my closet for accessories, I did find one last one that's related to the Joy-Cons. And it's kind of like this plastic, like clear shell for the Joy-Cons. This is for the front, and on the back it kind of gives this like little bump for like a grip. I don't know why, I vividly remember finding these at Target, and I just got so excited when I saw these and I just wanted them instantly. So I got them as soon as I saw them. I don't remember actually using them all that much afterwards, but I just remember them making me excited for whatever reason. But yeah, they feel okay somewhat. It just feels a little weird when you're playing it in handheld mode, or when you're using the Joy-Con separate like this. Let me get the Switch to see how it feels like that when you're playing it with the things attached. Oh yeah, this does not feel good whatsoever, because let me show you what I feel back here. Look at how sharp that is. Like that's like a look at that sharp ridge right there. That is not comfortable for the hands. Let me see if you can see this. You can get the camera focusing. It makes your fingers curl so much. It is not comfortable like this whatsoever. So I can understand why young Shemp didn't use these, because they feel quite horrible in handheld mode. I mean, and they're kind of impossible to take off the system because the button is hidden so much. But I mean, these were like no more than like $10, so I didn't really waste too much money on them. I mean, they look cool on the outside, but actually in use, yeah, not so good. Okay, that was everything related to the Joy-Cons. So now I have a couple of grips and like sleeves for the actual console itself that you can use while playing in handheld mode. I also have a couple of ones for the Switch Lite, so we're going to get into those as well. I just realized that when I was cleaning my closet a few months ago to make room for all my Switch 2 boxes and all that, I threw away the one case that actually did damage to my Joy-Cons. But I do remember the brand name. It was a Moomba slim hardshell case, and I just remember I couldn't pull it off for the life of me. It was not one of those cases that you can fit in the dock with. So if you needed to put it back in the dock to charge, you had to take the case off. And I just couldn't figure out how to do it, so I just kind of ripped it off violently. And it took chunks out of my Joy-Con plastic, which I was not happy about. So I did throw away that case, unfortunately, so I can't show it off in the video, but it was a Moomba case, I remember. So yeah, there's that one. But here's one I did keep. I got it, I think, pretty much after the Moomba incident when it tore off my Joy-Cons. I wanted something a little bit softer. So here's a silicone one. Let me see if I can slide this in. A very weird looking one, to say the least. I don't remember using this one all that much, if I'm being honest with all of you. and it couldn't have been more than like $15 because this is like a cheap silicone. But and another problem with the Moomba case that I had was that it was hard plastic. So and you know already, hard plastic makes Shemp's hands sweat. So that is why I wanted a silicone one like this. So yeah, it does give you a nice bump on the back, so you have something to hold on to. I mean, it does feel nice, but not ideal. It still feels kind of weird here on the edges. Like you can see this part of my hand. That feels very, very awkward to me. Like the bumps in the back, they feel nice. But it also kind of makes this look like a cheap kid's toy for some reason. Like I would not want to be seen with this in public. It just looks odd, it looks bulky like this. And I understand fully why I barely touched this thing after I got it. But this is an officially licensed, I think RDS Industries made this one. And it is a grip case for the Switch 1. Give it some grips, it does feel nice like this. But I just wanted the Satisfy grip, and this was kind of my cheap solution. Instead of actually investing the money into the Satisfy grip, I got this cheap one that's officially licensed. Satisfy one, not officially licensed. It's like a Kickstarter project that fans had to fund themselves to get that into production. This one is official, has the Nintendo Switch branding, and it does feel cheap because it's like a cheap plastic. It was only $20, I believe. And you could also get it in a bundle with a case that is specifically made to fit this grip on it. I mean, yeah, it definitely works, but not ideal. Okay, so this one is probably the least favorite grip or case that I have for the Switch 1. And this is the Orsley grip case. Now, the reason I don't like it is because of the material that's used. Like, I can't even begin to explain the material that's used here. It feels like a mix of like plastic and silicone, but it still gives that plasticky feeling that makes my hands sweat really bad. So that is the main reason why I don't like it that much. I mean, it does feel comfortable. It's better than the base Switch 1, but just like that weird... Let me see if the camera can do it justice so you can kind of get a sense of what it looks like up close. But it's like a plastic, but it also does feel like a little bit of silicone, but it doesn't provide any of the benefits of silicone, sadly. So I barely remember using this one, and I can see why. Definitely looking back at it, I do not like how the material is whatsoever, but Orsley, they're a good brand. They make a lot of good carrying cases. From what I've seen, a lot of people talk about them on YouTube, but yeah, I'm not a fan of this case, sadly. Okay, so the Switch Lite makes its first appearance in this video, and it is already wearing one of the cases that I was going to talk about. This is the case that I've kept on it since I got the console. I have had the Switch Lite since Christmas 2019. It's been a long time, almost as long as my Switch 1. And the reason I have a case like this is because the Switch Lite is a very portable console, very small, and I have a very small carrying case for it. Now, I do have a couple of cases that I'm going to show in a minute that do add some bulk to it, but they add a couple of grips. But that made the Switch Lite not fit in my very tiny case. And I try to keep the Switch Lite, I want it to take up as little room as possible in my bag. So that's why I've kept this case on it for the longest time. I think this one was made by PowerA, and it's a very hard shell protective one. So like if you drop the Switch Lite, this will protect it on the back, at least not really the front, because the thumbsticks are still exposed. But I mean, it feels great in the hand. I know my console is protected in here, and it does add some weight to it. And that extra weight does help it feel a lot more quality. Because I know for me, at least, if something feels light when I'm holding it, it does feel kind of cheap. This adds some bulk to it, which I like, while still keeping it nice and thin. It does have a couple of ridges on the back too, for comfort. This feels really nice. The Switch Lite, always a really nice feeling console with the D-pad and the buttons and all that. This is another one that made me like just really enjoy playing it in handheld mode, or using the Switch Lite in general. So yeah, a really good case. I think this is by PowerA. I've had it ever since I got my Switch Lite. As I'm discovering these new accessories in my closet, I'm kind of starting to put my timeline back together. So I think this is actually the first grip that I got for the Switch Lite instead of that bulky PowerA clear one that I just showed you. This is the Insignia one. So this is the generic Best Buy brand. They made a grip for the Switch Lite. And I think the only reason that I got this was because, like I said, I got the Switch Lite for Christmas, and I did get a lot of Christmas money as a result. And this was the only grip that I could find in stores. Like, if you know me, you know I'm the most impatient person on the planet. I did not, especially when I was young. Like, I was 13 when I got the Switch Lite. 13-year-old Shemp did not want to wait in the mail for like a Satisfy grip to order it. So I just kind of settled for something that's not as good so I can just get it right away, instantly. That's how impatient I am. And that's not to say that this is a bad grip necessarily, but It does feel nice in the hand. Again, just like this Joy-Con grip that I showed you earlier, it does suffer from the materials being a very hard plastic material. But this one does feel a little better because it does. The texture on the back is a lot more rough and pronounced compared to the Joy-Con grip that I showed you. So this one, I don't get sweaty as fast on this one, but I do get sweaty on it. And it does feel cheap because it's like a hollow, hard plastic. But it does feel good. It's better than nothing. It's the Insignia Best Buy one. And the only reason that I didn't really use it for longer is because, like I said, it did not fit into the carrying case that I had for the Switch Lite. And it just made it a much bigger thing to carry around. And at that point, if the Switch Lite's going to be big, you might as well just take the Switch 1 with you. So because I wanted to keep the Switch Lite as a tiny thing to take with me. And this one made it kind of big. So that's why I didn't use it. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention that you can fit 4 game cards in here, which is really nice since a Switch Lite's a portable game console. It's always nice to have your games on you. So there's that. So yeah, that was all my grip cases for the Switch 1, as well as the Switch Lite. And yeah, looking back at it, I realized that how much I did not like all of those ones. So I'm kind of mad at myself for wasting that much money instead of just pulling all my money together to get a Satisfy grip. But I'm glad I finally got a Satisfy grip in the mail for the Switch 2. Gonna review that one soon. So there's all the Joy-Con stuff, all of the grip stuff. Now I'm going to get into the actual gaming controllers. Okay, so the first controller I wanted to show is the Nintendo Switch 1 Pro controller. And this, it sounds kind of funny looking back on it, but when I first got my Switch 1, I was looking at all the videos of Nintendo Switch accessories. I was seeing just how much people love this controller, how much of a beloved controller that it was. And it became my literal dream, my life's work to get this controller. And I had to save up almost over a year. I got it for my birthday in 2019. And this thing stuck with me ever since then. It's been with me through COVID. It's been with me through the latter half of the Nintendo Switch 1 generation. Even when I got into emulation last year in 2024, this was the controller that I used for that because it works on PC. And you can see right here that this controller has been through hell and back. Let me see if you can get a good shot with the lighting here. You can see how glossy it is. But this thing has been with me through everything. One of my favorite controllers of all time. I have a lot of memories with this one. I just remember always begging my family to get this one for me. Then I finally got enough money for it on my birthday to get it in 2019. I was so excited to finally use it. And those YouTubers, they were not wrong. One of the most comfortable controllers ever. But the poor thing started to give out on me right before the Switch 2 came out. It started to drift, yes. Even the Pro controllers drift once in a while. And this one I haven't used since the Switch 2 Pro controller came out back in June. So this one is sadly retired, but I have a ton of history with it. Will always be thankful for all the stuff that it brought me, all the memories that it brought me, all the comfort and fun. And for most of the time that I used this controller, I used it with this silicone thing on it, and it's very similar. Same brand that made the Switch, that made the Joy-Con grip silicone. They also made one for the Pro controller, so I used this with this for most of the time that I used it. It's been through everything. I used to take this thing with me to my grandparents' house when I used to take my whole dock setup, but now I have an extra Switch 2 dock at my grandparents' house, so I don't need to take all that stuff with me anymore. So yeah, Switch 1 Pro controller. It was my dream item back in the day. You will not understand how much I wanted this thing. It was my literal dream. And my dream came true for my birthday. Switch 1 Pro controller. Retired now, but I'll always love it. Okay, this next one just makes me sad because I can't use it. It's the Power A GameCube style controller. This is the wireless version. Power A also made a wired version that was $25. I got the wireless one that was $50. And I got this just a couple of weeks before Smash Bros. Ultimate came out. So this thing has been with me since 2018. And the reason that I can't use it is because I don't know what the hell happened, but this thing drifts like crazy. It has an insane drift. I've done almost everything that I can to try to fix it. I've put some compressed air in here. Nothing worked. And it's just so sad because I love how this thing feels. It's so comfortable. I've loved the GameCube controller ever since I got one for the Wii U. That was the primary way that I played Smash Bros. For Wii U. And I was so excited when all of these GameCube controllers were coming out in the lead up to Smash Bros. Ultimate. This was the one that I went with. Like, I was so excited for all those. There was so many companies back then were making GameCube style controllers for the Switch 1. And I remember there was this Wolf Den video. He's one of my favorite Nintendo Switch YouTubers. He still is to this day. One of the inspirations for this video, actually, he made a video about all of the GameCube style controllers, and I just remember being so excited about all of those controllers because I literally wanted to buy all of them, but I didn't have any of the money because I was only 12 years old. This is the one that I went with. It feels awesome. Just sucks that I can't use it because it drifts like crazy. Still feels great to this day. All of the buttons are there. Has the same, like, forgot what it is, analog style. The Switch 1 doesn't register analog triggers, so these are kind of useless, but it still feels nice and satisfying to press. It's been with me for a while, but it doesn't work anymore, so that always bums me out because I love the PowerA wireless GameCube controller. I don't have it with me anymore. I think I threw it away a couple of months ago as well, but when the Switch 1 first came out, a ton of companies, including PowerA, made a lot of wired controllers. They retailed for around $20, $25, and I got one that was like 8-bit Bowser, I believe it was an 8-bit Bowser PowerA controller, and the reason I threw that one away is because it started to drift as well. Seems like PowerA in particular has a lot of drifting problems, and I'm not really sure if they have the same problems for the Switch 2 controllers that they've made, but I don't really invest in PowerA anymore because they have insane prices. The prices have went up insane, just like all the official Nintendo stuff as well. I'm assuming it's probably tariffs, but even a wired controller, something that you have to play hooked up to the wire on the dock, is like $40 now, and that's like insane to me. So I am not going to be buying any PowerA wired controllers. Their wireless ones are literally like $70 now, so it's just a couple of bucks off from the official Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. So if you're going to be paying that much, I would just say to save up a few more bucks to get the official one. It's not worth it. So all of my PowerA controllers were for the Switch 1. This is the only one that I still have. Okay, I have no idea why younger me got this one. I'm assuming it's just because of how cool it looks, but this is the PDP Afterglow Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I think this one is $50 as well. And I love this one so much because it just feels awesome. It feels like... The main thing that makes me like it so much is how much it weighs. It has a lot of weight to it. It feels exactly like a Nintendo Switch Pro controller in terms of like the weight, the way the buttons feel, the way the face buttons feel. Just feels very satisfying to me. Also has that really cool glowy effect. The thumbsticks feel great. I am particularly loved the D-pad. I have a lot of memories using this when New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe came over, because I just remember I loved the D-pad a lot. I used this controller a lot during COVID. I remember that. Very fond memories there. Also has the macro buttons if you want to use those. But this is just a really all-around great feeling controller. The only caveat that I have with this one is that, again, it is a very shiny plastic, so that means my hands get really sweaty on it, so I can't really use it for long gameplay sessions. But I still like to come back and use this one every couple of months because it still works. This one does not drift on me. It's held up really well. I remember I got this in 2019, I believe. Early 2019. Because that was around the time when these controllers started to make wireless ones. Because from 2017, 2018, all of these controller companies, they were mostly centered around wired controllers. They hadn't really figured out the wireless ones yet, but then in 2019, that's when a lot of these wireless ones started popping up, and this one is one of the best ones. So if you can't afford the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, this one was a great alternative back in the day. Okay, so those are all like the old nostalgic controllers. The ones that I exclusively used for the Switch 2 that I haven't used in a couple of months and or years, depending on the controller it is. So now we're going to get into a couple of the ones that I did use on the Nintendo Switch 2 that I still use to this day. I'm not going to spend too much time on these because I talked about them in depth during the room tour video, but I use this controller every day. It is the 8-Bit Do Pro 2. Again, Wolf Den, one of my main inspirations that I've been watching ever since I got my Switch 1. He got this controller, and he's the reason why I have it to this day. One of my all-time favorite controllers. This thing just feels so nice, so satisfying to use. And I've been a Nintendo guy all my life, so this is like my first time using the PlayStation style controller with the thumbsticks down here. I gotta say, it feels really nice. I've already gotten used to it. It feels really nice down here, and I may actually prefer the thumbsticks down here compared to how they are in all the original Nintendo ones where it's up here, because this is just such an ideal controller for 2D games. Like if you play a lot of New Super Mario Bros. Or the old NES games on the Switch Online, this is an amazing controller for you. Even works perfectly on 3D games. Super Mario Galaxy just came out on the Switch 2, Super Mario Galaxy 2. this controller rather, it has motion controls. So you can use this one for Galaxy 1 and 2. I've been using it for those games. It feels amazing. I love the 8BitDo Pro 2. And since I brought up motion controls, I forgot to mention that both of these have motion controls in them. So if you have these controllers and you want to use them for Mario Galaxy, for Mario Odyssey, for stuff like that, you can use them. Both the Power A and PDP have motion, but only the wireless ones do. That is an important thing to mention here. If you have a wired controller that was 25, it does not have motion controls. So yeah, there's that. 8BitDo Pro 2, they just released a Pro 3, but I'm not sure if I want to upgrade to that one anytime soon because I still love this one. I barely got it in like April or May actually, so this is a pretty recent buy for me, and I do not want to replace it anytime soon. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't think any of the Pro 3 features are all that important to me, so I'm probably going to keep this one for a long time. And last but not least, in terms of controllers, we of course have the Nintendo Switch 2 official Pro controller. Now in my room tour video, I kind of said some not so nice things about this one, but I'm growing towards it, gravitating more towards it as time goes on. This has been the primary controller that I've been using for Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Donkey Kong Bonanza is probably my favorite game over the last 10 years. I love that game. I'm not going to go into a side tangent about Bonanza because I'm probably going to make a whole other video about that one in a couple of weeks from now. But this one just feels so good all around. I don't really know what I was talking about in the last one. These are the two controllers that I swap between when I play Switch 2. I kind of have a schedule with these. I use this one, like I use this one today. I'm going to use this one tomorrow because I want to make sure I don't waste any of my money. I want to use them equally, so I kind of take turns using these. But this one just feels amazing all around. I'm pretty sure with the tariffs and all that, this is around, I want to say $90 now. Very steep price. I'm kind of over the fence if I want to say that it's justified or not. If your Switch 1 Pro controller still works, then I don't think you need this one. The thing that I would say is most upgraded compared to the Switch 1 is the thumbsticks. These thumbsticks just feel so incredible, like I can't even put it into words. That they're like rubbery. Like, I'm not going to waste all much time because I said this in the room tour, but the thumbsticks are the best part of the Switch 2 Pro controller. And I've started to use it a lot more. I kind of wanted to use both, so I don't waste my money on either of them. But two just phenomenal controllers that I use for my Nintendo Switch 2. So that was a lot, of Nintendo Switch 1 and Switch 2 controllers. So the last segment of this accessory video is going to be all of the carrying cases that I have, because that is the stuff that I have the most of, so I kind of wanted to do a rapid fire with all the cases. This was the very first case that I got for my Switch 1 that I bought alongside of it in February 2018. This thing has been used for so long. Not my ideal case because it doesn't have any game card slots. As you can see, you have to put it in those annoying plastic card holder things. So yeah, this case has since been retired, but it has been with me through a lot. This is the one that I've been using for many years at this point. This is the one that I made that was made for the Hori Split Pad Pros. So it is very wide, much wider than the actual Switch itself because it has to accommodate for those giant Split Pad Pros that I showed you earlier. And this is the one that I was also telling you that looks a little bit suspicious, like just being all black like this. Like, I don't want to be seen carrying this in public, so I just mainly use it if I want to put it in my bag. But yeah, it fits a lot. If you have a Satisfy grip, I'm certain that it can fit in here as well. You can put all of your games, your charger even, maybe even a Pro controller. Not too sure about that one. Don't fact check me on that one, but yeah, this is a very big case. I've had to use it for many years because the Split Pad Pro was the primary way that I played my Switch OLED. This is an interesting one. This was made by PDP. And opening it here, this is kind of like for if you want to take a larger load with you if you're traveling. Because in this sleeve right here, this is where the Switch goes. You have room up here for extra Joy-Cons. And in this little thing right here, this is where they want you to put your Pro controller. And I've tested doing that, and it's like a really tight fit. It's like the thumbsticks of the Pro controller are going to be squeezing up against the Switch itself. So this is kind of like a risky case to use. I mean, it looks aesthetically, it looks awesome because it has like this nice kind of like a fake leather thing to it here. But if you want to try to sandwich all that together, I don't think it's going to be healthy for your thumbsticks for the Switch or the Pro controller, so I never really used it for that. I mainly used it to put my carrying stand, because I also forgot to mention this. This is like a stand that I carried around with me when I used to play in tabletop mode a lot. Just to hold up your Switch, because the Switch 1 stand isn't all too great. So this was a great alternative to that. This was made by Power A It's a nice metal one, so this feels quality, and I usually just stick this in here, so that's why I have this case. And this is the RDS Industries Game Traveler Deluxe System Case. So the reason I got this is because I go a lot to my grandparents' house, and for the Switch 1, I would take my dock with me every single time that I would go to their house, and this is what I would use to put everything in. So you can see there's sleeves for the dock, the Pro Controller, for all the cables in the front, and for the Nintendo Switch here in the very front. So this is what I used from 2019 all the way up until this year, up until the Switch 2 came out. I did not get one for the Switch 2, and the reason for that is because I was given an extra Switch 2 dock. So I just keep my dock here in my room, and I keep an extra one over there at their house. So there's no need to get an extra case like this for the Switch 2 anymore. But this one is always really nice to have if you travel a lot. If you're gonna go on a big vacation and you want to play in your hotel room, that's another use for it. But they do make one for the Switch 2 if you're wondering. I just haven't got it yet. And really quickly, here's my primary Nintendo Switch 2 case. Let me see if I can figure out who made it, if the tags are in here. This is a PowerA case. So PowerA is back at it again. And the reason that this is my favorite one for right now is because of how slim it is. And because it actually has enough room for all of my game cartridges. This is literally all of my physical games. So it's just really nice to have them all with me at once in one single case without having to carry those annoying ass plastic ones that you have that you can only fit 4 games in. So that's the main benefit to this case for me. Just have all my games with me at once. Really thin, really light, hard shell, so it's protective as well. Just has all of the qualities that I would want in a very slim Nintendo Switch 2 case. Also very affordable as well. All of my Shemp loyalists will know that I made a full video review on this case, so I'm not going to waste too much time on it. But I don't use this one for day-to-day use because of how kind of the process is to take your Joy-Cons in and out of this. You have to separate the whole unit. But this is going to be the case that I use when I travel with my Switch 2 on the go. It's a little man purse. And here's my primary case for my Nintendo Switch Lite. This is another PowerA one. You can see in there. And you can fit 6 games in here. I know it looks like you can fit 8, but you can't really do anything with these 2 flaps in the middle here. So you can fit 6. Also, if you have those annoying plastic game card holder things, you can fit those in here. Really thin, really protective. I love this case and I've been using it ever since I got my Switch Lite. And here is a Skull & Company case for the Nintendo Switch Lite. I completely forgot this, blanked earlier when I was reviewing grip cases, but I actually have a case stored in here. But this is a case that I no longer use and I no longer wish to use ever again. And this is the Skull & Company case for the Nintendo Switch Lite. As you can see, I have no idea what happened to this, but I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but over the years, this has grown to have some weird piss yellow on it. Like this weird filter. I don't know how it got there. I've kept all my cases very clean. I'm a very cleanly guy. I'm kind of a germaphobe, so I have no idea how it got like this. It just turned out to be really ugly. But another reason I don't really use the case anymore is because I've moved on to the Switch 2, so I don't use the Switch Lite as much. But also just the materials for this. It's also a hard plastic. And we've established by now that Shemp doesn't like hard plastic because it makes my hands sweaty. And this is plastic galore. Also really bulky for the Switch Lite. So if you're going to make the Switch Lite really bulky, it's kind of no point anymore. Just take your Switch OLED, take your Switch 1. This is a really bulky case for the Switch. I remember I got this at the height of the pandemic, like April 2020. I was really excited for it for some reason, even though I couldn't really go anywhere with my Switch Lite. So I didn't use it all too much. I don't know how it became piss yellow. Kind of off-putting to me. So yeah, this is going to go back in the closet, likely never see the light of day again. Alright, so I got through all of the accessories that I wanted to show you in today's video. Those are all of the accessories that I have for the Nintendo Switch 1, Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch OLED model, and the Nintendo Switch Lite. But really quickly, I just wanted to go through all of the accessories that I have used the most ever since I got my original Switch 1. So right away, let's just go start with the controllers. Right here, we have the 8BitDo Pro 2. I use this almost every day. Same thing with the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. I take turns using these, so I use these every single time that I play my games. So those are obviously going to be the most used ones. This is what I used for the longest time as well. These Split Pad Pros from Hori. When I got my Switch OLED, this is primarily what I played them with. So from 2022 all the way up to 2025, 3 years I used these. I love them. I still love them to this day. Just have no use for them anymore because the Switch 2 has magnetic Joy-Con, so these won't fit on there, and I don't play my Switch 1s anymore. and this very long case for this Flip Pad Pros. This was the case that I used from 2022 to 2025. 3 years in use, still holds up really well, and it was my most used case for the longest time. But the new most used case is this Power A1 for the Nintendo Switch 2. Very slim, can hold all of my games in there, no problems whatsoever. And then we have the hard shell case for the Nintendo Switch Lite, because whenever I do go like on a long road trip and I don't really want to risk taking the Switch 2 with me, this is the Switch 2 Giant. This one I'm always using. Really nice grip case. And the case for the Nintendo Switch Lite right here. This combo pack. So this is all of my most used Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. My favorite Nintendo Switch accessories as well. So that is pretty much all that I have to say for this video. Had a great time showing off and explaining my stories of all this. Very nostalgic time. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, I want you to leave a comment down below. I want you to tell me all of your Nintendo Switch accessories that you have, and just share all of your thoughts if you have any ideas for future stuff that you want me to cover. Had a great time talking about all this. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Share all of your thoughts in the comments down below, and I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.